Judges, ladies and gentlemen. Dr. Seuss made some interesting points that really made me think about the statement he made. What I'd like to do is share with you is 3 stories that underpins his statement. My first story is as follows. 2 weeks ago, I looked different. Something physically was different 2 weeks ago. It all started in Wales. I was working with some young people, and I was the group leader of 20. And what we had to do is run up a slope. And the idea of running up the slope is try to touch the line. What happens, few of the young men were able to do it, they were like 15, 16, so they touched the line. Now, I was the group leader, and that voice in my head said, Steve, you need to represent. So what I did, I stepped back, and then Dr. Seuss's words were in my mind about the teacher and about learning the lesson. I ran, and I touched the line. It was a great feeling. But then I had this feeling that something had dropped on the back of my leg. It was a strange feeling. When I then came down, I realised that I'd ruptured my Achilles tendon. There wasn't a pain physically, but there was a pain in my heart because I realised all the things I wanted to do, I couldn't do. And that was something I've realised in myself, that things do change when you look at them differently. What I'd like you to do is simply raise your hands, please. It's not a religious thing, don't worry. Yeah? Okay. Now, what I want you to do is just clasp your hands like this, so your right thumb is just behind, okay? So it's at the base, okay? Now, what I want you to do is clasp it nice and tight. Then now what I want you to do is move it 2 forward. 1, 2. Now, in that position, I want you to grab it tight. I see some people are still going, oh, yeah? Dear Judge. Nice and tight, yeah? Okay. How does that feel? Uncomfortable. I love that. Okay, now what I want you to do is to go back to where you were originally. I think I heard someone go, Now, place your hands down. That was an example of getting used to being uncomfortable. Coming up this staircase was quite an epic journey. Many people were walking past me. Come on, Steve, the judging's soon. Don't worry, I'll be there soon. But as Dr. Wayne Dyer would say, is when you change the way you look at something, the thing you look at then changes. So that was my first story, my first realization that things are different and can be different. My second story is as follows. I was doing some work in the summer. I don't know if you remember when the summer was, nice and warm and hot, and there was a fly buzzing around in the room. Now, I'm not one that kills creatures, so the fly was buzzing around and I'm working around. And you know what it's like, isn't it? You try to ignore it, and it knows you're trying to ignore it, so it gets closer to you, so I'm working away. And then all of a sudden, it got near the window, and I thought, here's my chance to open the window and let that fly go. I opened the window up, and the fly buzzed around. But it didn't go out of the window. It stayed on the closed window. And it had me thinking about how many of us in our lives have opportunities, but choose not to take them, but just moan about where they are in life. Apparently, 87% of people are unhappy in the jobs they're in. Are you that fly? That was my second story. My third story was something quite interesting. It really made me laugh. I was in Tesco's, and I recognised a lady I used to mentor, and she had a 5-year-old son. And we've seen the altercations before, haven't we? You're not having that chocolate. That's it. You're not having it. That's it. But you're not having it. That's it. But listen, you're not having it. All of a sudden, the child voted with his feet, and he sat down in the middle of Tesco's. Okay, you can sit there, but I'm off. And she walked outside of the shop. So I'm kind of standing there thinking like childcare issues here, getting quite concerned here. And you know the guy in the corner, the security thing, yeah? He was looking at me and I was looking at him and I was going, I don't know. But then all of a sudden, she came back. Right, I'm going to get you one more chocolate and no more. She picked him up and placed him on her shoulder and walked past me. She didn't recognise me. But as she walked past me, he looked at me and he went. It made me realise in life you have to take action. How many of you are in situations where you haven't taken action? And often the teacher is saying all these things. We see the opportunities where people are doing really well financially, but we're not taking action. Often we have to do the action in order to realize where we can be in our lives. So really to summarize on what I've been talking about, really, the first point, sometimes you just have to do, which is what I did, and it's still here. The second thing to bear in mind is that fly. Are you someone that needs to move from where you are at the moment? Remember, 87%. And finally, and probably the most importantly, what action are you now going to do? And what I want to leave with you, which is so important, it's something I've always thought about, is to ask yourself this question. When was the last time you did something for the very first time? And Einstein said you should be doing at least 3 things a month. Can you imagine where your life would be? Thanks very much for listening to me. Thank you.